Hi, lovely and darling viewers. It's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm doing another Top 5 Wednesday. As always, the Goodreads group is in the description below if you want to check that out. And this week's topic is authors we wish we could write like. There are a lot of authors that I am just astounded by the way that they can form a sentence, or the way that they can develop a character, the way that dialogue works, or the way that they set up a scene. I'm really bad at setting up scenes, by the way. So I really admire that. So for my top 5, they are authors that excel at all of those things and often can mix several different emotions within a scene. So they can write a dramatic scene and all of a sudden it's funny, or something that is scary and then we're still like romantic about it, or something bizarre. I couldn't think of a good way to show you guys how these authors write without actually coming up with book quotes, and I'm not the best reader out loud, so I apologize if this is not the most entertaining video I've done. The complete list of authors and books is in the description below if you want to check that out. So the first author I picked is Terry Pratchett, who wrote the Discworld novels. These are satirical looks at our own world, but by showing them through a satirical flat earth with lots of kooky, crazy characters that I adore. The first quote I picked is a passage from The Late Fantastic, and it basically just describes what the Discworld is. The disc being flat has no real horizon. Any adventurous sailor who got funny ideas from staring at eggs and oranges for too long and set out for the antipodes soon learned that the reason why distant ships sometimes looked as though they were disappearing over the edge of the earth was that they were disappearing over the edge of the earth. The next quote I picked is from Going Postal, and it goes like this. Always remember that the crowd that applauds your coronation is the same crowd that will applaud your beheading. People like a show. This one is from the Hogfather, which is my favorite Discworld book. You can't give her that, she screamed. It's not safe. It's a sword, said the Hogfather. They're not meant to be safe. She's a child, shouted Crumley. It's educational. What if she cuts herself? That would be an important lesson. And last one is from Mort. Albert grunted. Do you know what happens to lads who ask too many questions? Mort thought for a moment. No, he said eventually. What? There was silence. Then Albert straightened up and said, Damned if I know. Probably they get answers. And serves them right. So the next author I picked is Marissa Meyer, and these are all quotes from the Lunar Chronicles books, which are dystopian fairy tale retellings. They start off with Cinderella, where we have this cyborg version of Cinderella who falls in love with the prince and soon to be emperor of the entire Asian continent. They're a lot of fun. I love these. So the stakes are pretty high in this series, as it's protecting the entire Earth from the evil Queen of the Moon, who has magical powers, basically. They're pretty much awesome, in case you're wondering. Totally read them. The first quote's pretty long. It's from the first book, Cinder, but I think it pretty much encapsulates how this goes down. Kai tilted his head, peering at her as if he could see right through to the metal plate in her head. I think you should go to the ball with me. She clutched her fingers. Stars, she muttered. Didn't you already ask me that? I'm hoping for a more favorable answer this time, and I seem to be getting more desperate by the minute. How charming. Kai's lips twitched. Please? Why? Why not? I mean, why me? Kai hooked his thumbs on his pockets. So if my escape hover breaks down, I'll have someone to fix it. It's from book 3, Cross, and it's Cinder. And I love this one. It's my favorite quote in the whole series. You said yourself that the people of Luna need a revolutionary. She lifted her chin, holding his gaze. So I'm going to Luna, and I'm going to start a revolution. The third author I picked is Shakespeare. I mean, he can literally just do everything. Poetry, comedies, drama, romance, history, and make them all super entertaining. And even though it's written 400 years ago, and the language is slightly different and we don't speak this way anymore, it still works, which is pretty much impressive. Also, he made up a lot of phrases and words that are just part of our everyday vocabulary, and how can you not pick Shakespeare as an author you would want to be able to write like? I don't honestly think I'll ever be able to write like this, but I mean, definitely amazing. So the first quote I picked is from As You Like It, and this is the character of Rosalind. For your brother and my sister no sooner met, but they looked. No sooner looked, but they loved. No sooner loved, but they sighed. No sooner sighed, but they asked one another the reason. No sooner knew the reason, but they sought the remedy. So romantic. I love that line. So the next quote is from Macbeth, which I actually hate every single character in this play, but at the same time, it is so well written that it's still one of my favorite plays, even though I hate everybody in it. Does that make sense? So the quote I picked is from The Witches, and it's probably one of Shakespeare's most famous scenes, and it's just so much fun. Like, it's definitely got a creepy tone and vibe to it, and I love it so much. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and toil of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard leg and howlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. And my final pick for Shakespeare is from my favorite play, Much Ado About Nothing, and this is Benedict and Beatrice. And Benedict has just confessed his love for Beatrice by saying something like, is it not strange that I love you, or something? And this is Beatrice's response, and it's they've been fighting the entire play, and then this is her response to Benedict's declaration of love. So Beatrice's line is, you stayed me in the happy hour. I was about to protest I love thee. Benedict, and do it with all thy heart. Beatrice, I love you with so much in my heart that there is none left to protest. So the next author that I picked is John Green, and these are all quotes from the book Turtles All the Way Down that just got released. So I was reading this book last month, and I just kept thinking, dang, I wish I could write like this as I was reading that book. It is a contemporary young adult novel focusing on Aja, who has OCD, and she and her best friend are trying to track down this missing billionaire so they can get reward money for finding him. So the first quote is Aja and her sort of boyfriend Davis just looking up at the night sky. Davis and I never talked much, or even looked at each other. But it didn't matter, because we were looking at the same sky together, which is maybe more intimate than eye contact anyway. Anybody can look at you. It's quite rare to find someone who sees the same world you see. This one is Aja and her best friend Daisy, and they are talking about getting this reward money, basically. We're about to live the American dream, which is, of course, to benefit from someone else's misfortune. And this one is Daisy talking about teenage boys, which I think totally sums up my feelings in high school about boys, and even as an adult with guys in general. The whole problem with boys is that 99% of them are like, okay, if you could dress and hygiene them properly and make them stand up straight and listen to you and not be dumbasses, they'd be totally acceptable. So this one just kind of describes loss in general. The thing is, when you lose someone, you realize you'll eventually lose everyone. So the last author I picked is K Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series. That entire series is amazing, start to finish. Every single scene, every single word, every single chapter. I love it terribly. Most of these are just character quotes because they're the ones that stand out in my mind the most, and of course the movies did not help this. So the first quote is Dumbledore in book 1, The Sorcerer's Stone. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Second one is also Dumbledore from Prisoner of Azkaban. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. So quote 3 is Sirius Black in The Order of the Phoenix. If you want to know what a man's like, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals. This one's particularly interesting because it happens in a chapter where we're at Sirius's house and we're watching how he treats a house elf, who is definitely his inferior, and his servant, and it's not good. So taking Sirius's advice does not shine good light on Sirius, basically. And the last one is Dumbledore from Deathly Hallows. Words are, in my not-so-humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic, capable of both inflicting injury and remedying it. So guys, those were my top 5 picks for authors who I wish I could write like, and some shining examples of their writing. These might not even be their best writing, period. Just fair warning. Let me know in the comments below what authors do you wish you could write like, or authors that you are like stunned by their writing, and what are some of your favorite passages. Feel free to leave those books and authors in the description below. Do you also love any of these books or quotes? Peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.